So how do you introduce solids to your baby? Specifically, how many times should they be feeding when you start to feed them solids? That's the question we're going to be answering today, because I get that all the time from new moms and dads who are beginning to feed their newborns and are wondering, should I feed them once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day? If I start at 1 time a day, when do I move that to 2 or 3 times a day? So we're going to be talking all about that today. I'm Dr. Obidi of the Newborn Prep Academy. I've been a pediatrician for over 19 years at this point now, and I love to take care of newborns. That's my passion. And so I interact with lots of moms every day in my practice out in Western Maryland. And today we're going to talk again about introducing solids. Not all the other things are about introducing solids, but specifically, how often should you feed your baby? So the truth is that there really isn't any hard and fast rule. You'll hear me say that a lot with a lot of questions that we have as parents. I often like to say to my moms and dads that, there are millions of babies around the world, that are being cared for at any one time, and they're all cared for in so many different ways. It's colored by their culture, colored by the part of the world they're in. And for the most part, all those babies thrive. So it really doesn't, to some degree, matter how often you feed your baby. Now, it does make sense to kind of go gradual when you're introducing solids. So I will say start once a day. And it really doesn't matter if you do that in the morning or afternoon or evening. Whatever is convenient for you. You're really just sort of getting your baby used to the idea of taking something of a different consistency. And babies are so varied how they accept, solids. Some babies will take to it right away, and others will need to try a food at least 10 times to actually like it. So they may do a lot of spitting out and, making faces and generally not being very happy with you for trying to introduce something new to their diet, but eventually take to it. So I really want you to give yourself some latitude. Don't feel like you're going to mess it up, or you're going to do something terribly wrong that messes up your baby for the rest of its life and is never going to like food again. That generally doesn't happen. So I would say, introduce a solid meal once a day. Again, it doesn't matter what time of the day. You want to give about 2-3 days with a new food you introduce to see if there are any reactions. And also, you don't want to introduce too many new things at the same time. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what they're reacting to if they happen to react to something. Now, I will give a caveat to that. If you are introducing solids to your baby using the baby-led weaning method, then you are going to introduce all kinds of things to your baby right away, because they're going to be feeding off your plate whatever is appropriate in terms of consistency. I've done some other videos on baby-led weaning. And so in that case, then it really doesn't matter, right? They really will just be eating different things at different times. And if they do happen to have a reaction, then you might have to sort of do some investigating and maybe try the different foods they had separately to see which one they were reacting to. So again, going back to our original question, it really doesn't matter how many times you introduce, how many times a day your baby gets to feed right away. However, it does make a lot of sense, and there's a lot of wisdom to starting slow and just doing one feed once a day to see how they handle it. But you really can progress to twice a day over the next few weeks, 1-2 weeks, and over by the course of a month, get down to feeding your baby 3 times a day. The one thing I will say as you begin to introduce solids to your baby's diet regularly is that you do want to introduce water to their diet. Basically free water, just putting water in a bottle or a sippy cup, and having them consume water that way. Otherwise, your baby is likely going to get constipated over time. Breast milk and formula, when it's prepared the right way, has all the water your baby needs up until when you start to introduce solids to their diet. So again, I hope this is useful for you. I want you to have less anxiety over the exact method in which you introduce solids. Babies are very flexible. They really will adapt to whatever you introduce to them. And so just feel free to start solids. And again, the ideal time frame to start solids is at 6 months, but really anywhere from 4 to 6 months if your baby is showing cues of being ready for solids, so they're able to have good neck control where they can hold their head up independently. They don't have any more of a thrusting reflex where they're sort of thrusting their tongue out of their mouth all the time on reflex. And that they are look like they're interested in feeding. So they are looking at your food, wondering, when are you going to give me some of that lovely tasting food I can see on your plate? Those are some cues that your baby might be ready to transition to solids, and when you should get started. But certainly by 6 months of age, you should start feeding or introducing solids to your baby's diet. Again, I hope this was useful. This is Dr. Obidi of the Newborn Prep Academy. Wherever you're watching this, there are links that you can click on to help you gain access to resources that will help you care for your newborn confidently. That is our passion here at the Newborn Prep Academy. And if you happen to be in the Washington County, Maryland area, I do practice locally in the area at Partners in Pediatrics and Family Health. All right, I'll see you again on the next video.